Let's bring in Betsy Rosenberg, an environmental reporter and climate commentator. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, well, now it was a big day for climate change, huge day. What was the big impact here, if there was any?
Well, not enough, of course, but there is something in the air that's different. You know, I've been covering this beat for about 20 years, and this is different. It's the youth protesters, it's the extreme weather we're all seeing, it's the Green New Deal. So people want these officials and government officials from all over and stakeholders to get that message that this is not business as usual. It can't be. This is the Climate Action Summit, not the Climate Talking Summit. So unfortunately, the US and China are in this kind of silly, stupid, perhaps suicidal standoff where China's saying, well, we've done enough. You know, the US pulled out of the climate accord, so we're not doing much more. The US didn't even show up at all. They sent a lower level State Department official. Trump showed up, you know, and then went on to his religious persecution conference, but you know what? There's no good religion or good anything on a bad planet. So this has to be dealt with first, and there's just too many who are leaders, supposed leaders, not showing the urgency that the youth are. And as the kids protesting said, you know, the adults are acting like children. We're going to have to be the grown-ups in the room, but they are not going away. Their cries are getting louder, as they should, because they're saying basically you are sacrificing our future, and get busy. We're not, as Greta said, we're not going away. We're watching you, and if you don't do the right thing, we will not forgive you. I mean, that's powerful. I get goosebumps just repeating her words, but especially when I see her. So not enough, but there is something different in the air. So this will have to continue, and can't just be they gather for 1 year and then go back and do a little bit just to make it look good, sound good. No, this is an emergency, a planetary emergency. Right. Our emissions are higher than they've ever been across the world.
And absolutely, and with Greta and with that powerful speech that she had, they're very passionate. I mean, she started off with saying, "How dare you?" She really did have a point there, where it's the youth who are really taking a big step here. And you mentioned, of course, these big powers who aren't doing much. What can they do going forward to really get to at least the level of young people today?
Oh, the leaders?
The leaders, yeah, China. Yep,
well,
China,
first of all, the
US.
U.S. has to get on board. We have to elect somebody who understands that science is real. That's the first thing. So it's about how we vote. It's about technology, but it's not going to be a tech fix solely. We just have to factor our environment, not the environment, our environment. You take a breath of air and it becomes your environment. Treat it as if our lives depend on it, because they do. And we're still not putting it, the leaders, supposed leaders. And, you know, there's a lot of stakeholders and cities and states that are stepping up, but nationally we're not doing nearly enough, and worldwide we're not doing enough. Just have to factor it into every decision, every economic decision. Climate change is fueling immigration. It's connected to so many of our issues. And we're at record temperatures. The last 4 out of the 5 years were the hottest ever recorded. Right. And look what we're seeing in Greenland, with it melting faster than even the scientists predicted. The Amazon is burning up. I mean, what about this doesn't scream emergency and urgency? And that's not quite being reflected in what was said today, other than Greta.
Absolutely. And very quickly, there's so many factors here. There's so many protests that are happening between today and Friday. I mean, will these still have the same impact, people walking out?
I think they have to. You cannot ignore 250,000 people. And I marched in the People's Climate March 5 years ago. It was that same feeling like we're at a tipping point. And I feel that again, but not enough has changed. And a lot has. At least the media is starting to wake up and smell the carbon. Right. But we need to have some programming about solutions, because how are we going to cut our emissions in half, get off our gases in a decade, if we're not talking about how we can do it? And there's a role for everybody, individuals, citizens, communities, states, but mostly at the national level. We need a whole big eco U-turn.
And that is an excellent report. Thank you so much, Betsy Rosenberg. Thank you for today.